Hi everyone, welcome back to the Man Cave. I want to say thanks for taking the time to watch the video. Please let me know what you think. As you can see, today is Lobo Day. So the main man will be our character spotlight for this episode. I'll be showing you a bit of my collection, telling you about him, why I think he's the most awesome DC character around, but also telling you about the news and what's been happening. I haven't spoken about Acetate Gate much, but a friend of mine asked me to really kind of just give a quick recap on what the whole comic community is freaking out about. So I'll be doing that. And that leads me into the topic for this week of should you slab your comics? Again, this is personal preference. It really is up to you. There is no right or wrong answer, but it's just going to be my take on it and my 2 cents. So let's first get into the comic news. Well, the stuff that piqued my interest this week, because the whole comic world is exploding at the moment. D23 is around the corner, but I guess by the time you guys watch this episode, it would have already, all the announcements would have been out, so there aren't rumors. And if I make any outlandish statements, I might seem like a bit of a dumbass. So I'll tell you what I do find interesting, Henry Cavill. So I'm super excited. Love the actor, but he's rumored to be working on loads of projects for everyone. I mean, half of which I'm sure are not true, but I'll tell you about a few of them that I've heard, at least. So we know Geralt from The Witcher Season 3. Then I heard James Bond, Highlander. Oh yes, that he was coming back as Superman to fight Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam. This week, Elizabeth Olsen and him are rumored to be in House of the Dragon Season 2. But there was a really interesting article that came out saying that he signed with Marvel. Now, if that's true, and I mean, that's a long shot, but if that's true, everyone's trying to guess which character he would play. I've heard Wolverine, Cyclops, Hyperion, Sentry, Adam the Blue Marvel, and even Doctor Doom. So who do you think he might play? We can play a little game. Type your comment down below and we'll see when it's announced who's right. I have my suspicions. In that same article, Giancarlo Esposito has supposedly been brought on to play Professor X. Now, we've seen, who was it, John Krasinski as Reed Richards. So he was also in the article, so Mr. Fantastic. Then there was Daisy Edgar Jones, John Boyega from Star Wars, and Denzel Washington. Now, I'm hoping Denzel might play Magneto then. There was also the casting for Sue Storm that everyone's been freaking out about because there was quite a long list of names. And I have to be honest, most of those actresses, I didn't know them at all. I hadn't heard of them. The one I do know is Jodie Comer. Now, she was in Free Guy as the lead. I think she was pretty good. And I'm more wondering how they're going to integrate the Fantastic Four into the MCU. Reshoots are currently being done for Black Panther. So that was announced this week and it's really close. So this is why I'm a little bit worried because it's supposed to come out in about 2 months. I'm guessing it's something like a post-credit scene or maybe fixing up something that the test audience has picked up. What really concerns me though is DC. Reshoots are being done for Shazam 2. That's Fury of the Gods. And they have now announced that that's been pushed back. Actually, it seems like the whole DC movie lineup has been pushed back because Aquaman was also announced to be pushed back this week. It makes me wonder what is going on at DC. Like, there was an article about there was a massive hype around the new Joker name to be revealed. And it was the biggest waste of time. In all fairness, I read all the articles, and I'm going to save you the time I wasted. His name is Jack Oswald White, but he's a Joker in one of the infinite DC universes that means absolutely nothing. So I have to wonder, like, they also canceled Fandom. They said it was because Comic-Cons are now back and it's not needed, but I completely disagree. Like, the trailers that dropped on there were awesome. I got 2 of the DC NFTs from that platform, and I mean, they could always use it to push other upcoming projects or even comic sales, which Lord knows they need. It just feels like a bit of a waste to me. Now, on a positive note, James Gunn said that Mr. Terrific is one of his all-time favorite characters, and he would love to see a live-action version of him. I am guessing possibly Peacemaker Season 2, or there was supposed to be a spin-off movie or series shot about Vigilante that also included Judo Master. I love that show, so I'm excited to see if they will incorporate Mr. Terrific. Catherine Keener will have a role to play in Joker 2. That's with Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix. This is the one that's supposed to be a musical. I'm not really sold on it yet, but I'm guessing that she might play Harley's abusive mother or even an older Poison Ivy. We're just going to have to wait and see who she, what role she plays. Now, Spider-Woman 2099 is the latest character in the Spider-Verse, and she appeared this week in Spider-Man 2099 Exodus Omega. She appears to be dressed in black, in almost a symbiote-like suit with claws and a headpiece. It's weird because almost like nearly transparent wings. The Spider-Verse content creators are trying to milk it for all they can before the movie drops. And I've seen them do Gold Goblin now all the way through to a potential new cyborg Spider-Woman 2. And it just seems like there's a new hot character every month in the Spider-Verse. It's just too many, and for me, I would think they should rather work on the characters and developing those storylines so you've got more sustainability rather than just pumping out a new character each month. Because I think they're playing to that hype beast and trying to just push issues, but it might be the straw that breaks the camel's back. I don't generally talk about negativity in the community, but over the last few weeks, I think 3 weeks, it seems like that this constantly comes up and people are asking me. So I'm going to try and do this as succinctly as possible, because you've probably heard the name Black Flag Comics and Acetate Gate. So let me explain what's been going on. This all started at C2E2. So that's a big Comic-Con in Chicago, where Black Flag Comics had said they were putting out a Clayton Crane cover swipe of Ultimate Fallout 4 as an exclusive with only 750 copies at $85 each. These were comics that he had left over from another print run of 3,000 he had done, but then he decided to attach a piece of plastic or acetate with USA and the American flag on it and called it, his exclusive that was sold at C2E2. Now, the problem is they stapled them on themselves. So a comic that's only supposed to have 2 staples and holes was produced like now has 4. So in addition to this, they hadn't let Marvel know that they were altering the design. So without approval, this essentially is a bootleg copy. Then they went on to let influencers cut the line and buy short boxes full of these issues so they could flip them on their channels and eBay and everywhere else, really. This meant that there weren't enough for the people attending the convention and essentially those people standing in line. So to make matters worse, when he realized that they were setting or selling out those issues too quickly, he then increased that price to $100 per issue. For the collectors that had been standing in line for them. Now, in a video that was posted this week by Jason Wallace, he's the owner of Black Flag. We found out that apparently Clayton Crane has run off with his wife. It was a really sad video, and my heart goes out to the man. Some people are saying that this is a hoax just to take the pressure off what's been going on, but I think any marriage that fails after 20 years, especially when there's kids involved, is really sad. Okay. Anyway, back to the Ultimate Fallout 4 reprint variant cover. The aftermarket prices went crazy, with issues selling around $400 just a day later. Now, the big problem is that he had submitted a few of those to CGC, and they gave him ridiculous universal, blue label grades for those comics. So they have 4 staple holes, 2 added after the original printing, and he got back 4 9.8s, 5 9.9s, and 1 10.0. Now, for the people who know how hard it is to get a real 9.8 grade, this was impossible. They had to handle these books to staple the covers on. So even a fingerprint on a cover won't get you a 10.0. Essentially, it's impossible to get. So they've done this before with 3 other submissions, getting 9.9s and 10s in each batch of 10. People are really upset because they think that they've paid off someone at CGC or in partnership to get the grades they want. Now, this is not the first time that CGC's quality control has been come under fire or is in question because of glaring mistakes. And I'm sure all of you have seen them. That aside, any company can expect some mistakes, but it seems like grading is subjective, and it really depends who you get on the day. Now, other grading companies aren't without their own problems, and I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but CBCS lost 367 submissions from a major dealer. He's actually a friend of mine on Facebook, but he followed up over a year, constantly, and only found out now that they're just gone or they don't know where they are. So for today's topic, my question is, should you grade a comic? So as far as I'm concerned, it really depends on your personal preference and why you're doing it. For me, when people used to come over to the old man cave, I would often have that age-old discussion of the 180, 181 first appearance of Wolverine debate. And I'd love pulling out the raw 180 and opening it to the last page and showing the person that panel of Wolverine at the end with the small ears where he talks. And you couldn't do that with a slab comic. But over the years, I've also collected over 100 Stan Lee signed yellow label comics. And that's because when it comes to signatures, CGC will only ever give a yellow label if one of their reps are present and have witnessed the signing. So other companies do verified signatures, and that's a discussion for another day. But at least it stops fake signatures. So where do I land on this topic? If you're buying for a serious investment like retirement money, then yes, by all means, go graded. If it's a copy of AF-15, Fantastic Four, Batman 1, or any other golden age key where the slightest grade point bump makes a difference to the price, I understand, of course. But people often overcapitalize on a small book, and they don't understand that the grading will essentially cost more than the comic is worth one day, and it'll be hard to sell that comic and recoup your funds. So You have to understand the value of the comic and the risk, like, of submitting it for grading. And I've heard some absolute horror stories. Now, if it's for your personal collection and something special to you and you want to like encapsulate that memory, then I say hell yes. By all means, get it graded. Like, proudly display it or keep it safe. But I feel there's just too much uncertainty and market manipulation currently for me to trust my prized possessions, like I suppose in the post, and to any company where it could be potentially lost or knocked down on grade because the person's having a bad day or makes a mistake. Let me know if you've had any books graded, what your experiences have been, what you think about the issue. And I guess I might have one of those grading stories. Save that for another day. But on to the main man of the hour, Lobo. So I am a massive fan of Lobo. I'm sure you can see by the pictures I'm going to put up, but hold on. I'm also not going to knock those grading companies because I have both of their, like, I support both of them. And as you can see, like, whenever I can find it, I generally pick it up. So this is the first appearance of Lobo. He was created by Roger Slipher and Keith Giffen. He's an alien that was born on the utopian planet of Zarnia. His job is to collect bounties on criminals, but he's also a mercenary. He has superhuman strength, excellent marksman, scary at hand-to-hand combat, and he's been called immortal because he possesses regenerative powers. Part of the reason why I like him is that he's almost the Deadpool of the DC universe. Like, in the 90s, he would show up in random comics as a cameo guest star and just cause havoc. I particularly enjoyed his back and forth with Guy Gardner in the Legion run, and that was the 90s. But he's an anti-hero with like blurred ethical lines and no sense of morality to speak of. And he's arrogant, self-centered, and very often drunk. Keith Giffen had made Lobo as a parody of the Punisher and Wolverine, like a high-violence poster boy, and even he didn't expect the character to grow to such fame and cult status. So he's the last of his kind because he killed all the other Zarnians. He's often accompanied by that bulldog called Dog, but he says it isn't his. And very often, instead of swearing, he uses the word brag. I mean, he's been in DC animations, beating up Superman, the Justice League video game, or Injustice. He even fought Aquaman when a traveling space dolphin was killed by a Japanese fisherman on Earth. Crazy character. Now, oh wait, before I forget, the next clue to our giveaway lies in this answer. Riddle me this. Who is one of James Gunn's all-time favorite characters? Is it A, Mr. Terrific, B, Peacemaker, or C, Mr. Fantastic? Now, keep those answers safe. It'll all make sense pretty soon. I'm working on something. Guys, thanks for everyone who took the time to watch this episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. This is my passion. So please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Let me grow this to show everyone just how awesome and cool geek culture is. But I guess till next time, remember, geek responsibly and catch you on the side of the flipping.